Okay. All right, folks. This is Aguagiero. My name is Raimundo. Um, I'm going to break down what I do real quick. Aguagiero.net is a website where you can download a lot of free templates and guidance for creating a private express trust. That's really the kind of bread and butter. That's really what I like to focus on is getting people into a private express trust. Like I said, you can create your own trust with the downloads on the website. My YouTube page is YouTube is Aguagiero, and there's at least 8 videos just on the private express trust, how to create it, how to use it, how to open a bank account, how to travel with private plates. All that's there. Then I offer consultations, 75 bucks an hour, and you can book a 1 hour consultation on the website as well. I also offer a free
Oh my
30-minute
God.
consultation. Um, and then I do a coaching package for 6 hours for 300 bucks. And I will draft the documents for you as well if you want me to draft the trust. Other documents like the security agreement and your banking documents, I can draft those too. And that package is 2,200, and that includes the trust, banking documents, a bill of sale to show you how to move property in and out of your trust, and a private security agreement. So, okay, that's trust stuff. That's like I said, what I do. I've also been involved in the courts quite a bit, and I know a lot of other folks here in Colorado that have been involved with the courts that have had a lot of success. Um, and every time they've had success, it's always been from using the state constitution as their backbone. But the Rule 57 is in pretty much all the state courts too. Okay, so if you have a traffic problem or a county court issue or whatever, you can seek a declaratory judgment in just a superior court. It does not have to be a federal court. However, there is nothing keeping you from going straight to the federal court. Um, so that being said, I'm gonna show you what the federal rule 57 is. Um,
Maybe it's just to want me to watch this shit. I'll sue the fucking.
Hey, can you mute, please? Sorry, second. Okay. You guys see this, Rule 57? I'm gonna take that as a yes. Okay, here's the rule, real quick. Declaratory judgment. These rules govern the procedure of obtaining a declaratory judgment under 28 U.S.C. 2201. Rules 38 and 39 govern a demand for a jury trial. That's not specifically what we're looking for, but the existence of another adequate remedy does not preclude a declaratory judgment that is otherwise appropriate. The court may order a speedy hearing of a declaratory judgment. So, the fact that this is in here just like this, and it just says Rule 57, declaratory judgment, when you file your case, you can file a complaint under Rule 57, under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 57. That's basically why it's here and why it is expressed the way it is there. So, but what's important here is actually this code here, 2201, which I have up here, I believe. Yep. Uh, and they do these with these codes. They add a lot of extra stuff in here that is completely like irrelevant. So they talk about respect to federal taxes, you know, because he talks about this except part, right? So in a case of actual controversy within its jurisdiction, except for almost all of this stuff. All right. As determined by an administrating authority, any court of the United States, upon the filing of an appropriate pleading, which is just the 57, may declare the rights and other legal relations of any interested party seeking such declaration. Whether or not further relief is or could be sought, any such declaration shall have the force and effect of a final judgment or decree and shall be reviewable as such. So, this is what allows you to get into the federal court and talk about your rights. Because if you just sue, um, hold on. If you just try to sue a judge or you try to sue anybody in a court or a federal court, they're going to dismiss it because there is a Government Immunities Act. All right. Almost every state has a Government Immunities Act. In Colorado, it's the CGI, Colorado Government Immunities Act, and it outlines all kinds of stuff of why you can't sue somebody. And like suing a judge for their action or a police officer or any of that stuff is included. Now, it does exclude some things like certain municipalities, like utilities and whatnot. So, that's what precludes most people from suing the government. But if you do it under a 57,
I'll just,
you can do it. All right, hold on. I'm going to bring you up my example next of the 57. Do we got any questions? If you do have questions, please put your hand up. I've honestly never done a Zoom meeting with this many people in it, so please take advantage or use the raise your hand option. Or let me see, let me get the chat up too. All right, cool. We got some moderators on there. I like it. All right, give me one
I
moment.
don't see where to raise your hand.
Um, there's maybe let's see.
It's in the React area at the
There we
bottom
go.
bar, React, I
Perfect. Yep.
believe, or
Thank you.
chat.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, React. Yeah, great crowd tonight, Ray.
Yeah. People want to see the government. I love it. All right. What's the question? Virgo.
It's yeah. Hey man, what's up, bro? I
How you
appreciate you
doing?
doing this.
You
Uh,
Ryan?
yeah. We talked.
Cool. What's up?
Um, so okay, so I'm talking about ChatGPT, right? And I'm saying like, obviously, there's no case law that they're gonna show us where someone beat the government, right? But then I'm asking for case law to show me. It will basically show me all the case law that shows that like it's a it like we all fall under the penalty they were saying that like due process doesn't apply because you violated a penalty, like it's a penalty, it's not like a commercial transaction. What is the yeah so like for example, like for when my moving violation, you're saying a 57, isn't that like a summary judgment?
No, it's a declaratory judgment. That's what I just went over.
Yeah, what's the difference between that and a like
Well,
okay,
a
so
summary judgment is where you have a case and
yeah,
it's either stalled out and you want it to be over. And so you would file for a summary judgment to basically suggest that there is no other argument to this case. Whatever presented is should be good enough. And so you motion the court for a summary judgment. That's within a case, for one thing.
yeah.
A
Okay.
declaratory judgment, like I said, is in every state constitution or rules of civil procedure, and it allows you to file a lawsuit under that rule. That's what I'm talking about. Is the 57 allows you to file the suit, and it's
Okay.
for a declaratory judgment. So you're not technically suing anybody. You're not suing the judge or suing the officer.
no, just,
You're effectively just asking for a declaratory judgment. Did these guys violate my rights? Did these
Gotcha.
guys
Okay.
violate my due process? I think they did.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
think they did. And this is why I think they did. That's pretty
Okay.
much the
So
game.
it's not like an action against somebody.
No. Well, I mean, no, it's like you have a case. There's everybody on here has probably gotten beat up by the courts in one way or something, or have something coming up where the courts just railroaded them, treated them like they were nobody, either probably maybe threw you in jail for
Yeah.
not doing anything wrong. And there's just a ton of crap. And you can't just sue the officer or whoever is doing it to you because they have this Immunities Act.
Gotcha. Okay.
But you can sue for a declaratory judgment, a different court completely unrelated to this county or whatever. Will you take a look at this situation and tell me if they violated my due process rights?
Hmm.
Okay. And
Okay.
that's what we're going to do. That's how you're going to do it.
Oh, okay. So it's basically like just going to a judge that has nothing to do with this and asking them what they to rule on.
But yeah, but the thing is there has to be a thing. Okay. Honestly,
Oh,
just being asked to come into court, just being served or whatever, probably isn't enough to take it to a higher court. Now, if you challenge their jurisdiction and they
yeah.
say, yes, we have jurisdiction over you, you can sue for a declaratory judgment on that action. See, all the actions of the government and the orders of the court, those are all decisions that can be challenged.
Because in state court, they're just gonna, and then the administrative court's just gonna railroad through you. They're not gonna. They're gonna say you're gonna. I've come in court sui juris, making a
Yeah,
special
that's what
appearance.
we're doing this. That's why we're doing this because
Okay. Yeah.
there's 1,000 of sovereign methods to try to
Yeah.
do this stuff, and honestly, it's a coin toss. Sometimes they do work in the right
Yeah.
situations, but it looks like and it seems like more and more they're all getting railroaded
Right.
because these courts can ultimately do whatever they want.
Right. So
So
like, yeah.
if you don't take it to a higher court,
No.
then it doesn't really matter what they do because no one's ever asking them.
And it's not like a countersuit. This is like a separate thing that you're talking about.
Countersuit, you would actually, yeah, it's the same idea, but
It's just like a different avenue.
yeah. So,
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
all right, I guess we got some hands up. Michael, Carrie, I assume.
Yeah, how's it going?
You guys are done. Turn your hands off, please. All right, you did it. Cool. Thanks. All right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, I'm gonna lower that for you. Thanks for doing what you're doing today. Definitely need to get in tapped in with what you're going on and paying attention. Quick question for the declaratory judgment rule 57. I'm going through a family court situation.
All right, you know what? I'm going to cut you off real quick. If we can get
Sure.
your personal stories to the end,
Okay.
I'm recording this and I want to get the lesson of how to do it first, and then we can talk about everybody's case. If that's
Sure.
okay, unless you got something.
No, well, of course, essentially. I just wanted to tie it into with without getting into all the details of my situation. Would the declaratory judgment apply to a district court judge who may have potentially violated jurisdiction and due process? Would a declaratory judgment be in association with like a 1983 deprivation of rights, or would it be separate from that?
Oh, it'd be the 57 is honestly what'll get you in the door.
Okay, for the 83.
Yeah, so you can
And the 241 and 242 and so on.
Yeah.
Got you.
Those are really kind of tricky to do though. Okay, for one thing, that can't be your only argument. is the 241 or the 242.
Mhm.
Okay, but I'll show you how to make, it's really easy to find the argument once you really see it. So,
Okay. But that was essentially my question. The
yeah, that's where we're
declaratory
going.
judgment, is it separated from that action, or is it inclusive?
No,
Meaning
when
it gets
you
you in the
file this
door.
57, you're going to bring everything you can.
Got you.
You're going to bring every argument you see that they did something.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Tracking. I'll mute and listen. Thank you.
Thank you. R. We got an R. You pirate?
Yeah, no, I just keep it simple.
Cool. What's up?
Not much, man. Appreciate you taking the time. I live in Colorado too, so I'm sure you got bombed with snow. But I had a question regarding Rule 106 and bringing a lawsuit through that.
Let's do that later. We can talk about that, but I really want to get this 57, and I got a good example right here. I just want to get through that.
Would that apply to the 57?
I'll have to read it. I don't know 106, to be honest with you.
All right.
Off the top of my head. We can read it afterwards. So, okay, I'm going to share and what I'm going to share with you is a lot of it came from GPT. Now, I've checked all the case law, so it's not and you should anytime you use, let's see, AI. Okay. Okay. So, I got somebody that's working, they're doing this on their own. And, this is actually something that they produce from just asking Chat GPT questions, like how to do stuff. Okay. So, and, I'm not only going on that. I know three other people that have filed, a 57 in different courts. They've both been in state courts. So this isn't the only source, but the breakdown to filing a court case is you can do it pretty much however you want. However, you really want to try to do it how they
Come
want,
on, dude.
just so that they will um, understand your complaint better. Because if you just try to write the whole thing out how you see it and what you think it should be, they're very likely to either dismiss it and call it too confusing.
I had a graphic exercise, and I was just like, what the
Can you guys mute, please? Um,
I'm a nobody.
Hold on a second. Let me pause this. Sorry.
What the?
Okay. All right. So again, how this is put together is really the order of how you want to put together a complaint. Okay. I'll show you another one that I like to use, but effectively, you always have some kind of an introduction. You're giving a very simple, as simple as you can make it, sentence or statement for why you were bringing this case to this court. So, so and so, your name brings this action pursuant to Federal Rule 57 and ultimately 28 USC 2201, seeking a declarative judgment on the actions of so and so and their agents that have violated your constitutional rights under the Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendments of the United States. And plaintiffs, this is the second thing. Plaintiff seeks to order circuit courts failed establishment of jurisdiction over the plaintiff. So in this case, they challenged jurisdiction and it was denied or dismissed. And so now they're filing this court case. Now, this would be, this is where you would say, yeah, that first sentence, that first one would probably be universal. Obviously switching out what state or, government entity you're dealing with, but you can get almost any government on the fourth, fifth, and 14th. So after you do that introduction, you got to establish the jurisdiction. Okay. And so,
There's no rock walk, but
hey, can you guys please mute if you're not going to.
I'm learning stuff too, so it's worth going, so at least hoping. Little by little, I'm kind of understanding a little bit more.
Please mute. I'm recording this. Okay. So after you do an introduction, you have to establish the jurisdiction as why this court can hear this case. Okay. And so let's see, we can look at 28 USC 13. We'll look at that one after. But again, this is ultimately the same thing as Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, but any type of controversy between citizens and their state, the federal district court has jurisdiction. All right, and once you establish jurisdiction, you have to establish who the parties are. Okay, and it's who the plaintiff is, who you are, and you can see this individual, proud of their address, called themselves a private individual, living, breathing, flesh and blood woman of the land, one of we the people, not a U.S. citizen, not a municipal citizen, and as an American citizen, suiting their current constitutional rights and claiming all inherited, unalienable, constitutionally secured rights with their name properly spelled only in upper and lowercase letters, the undersigned. And then who the defendant is. In this case, it was the state of Arkansas. All right. Now this is the next part here. So this is pretty standard. Introduction, jurisdiction, who the parties are. Pretty much any court case, any complaint you're going to file. Then you get into the facts. Okay. And this is probably one of the more trickier things to do, but you have to really just lay out what all events took place to lead to your rights being violated. All right, so I'm not going to go into I guess we'll just break them down or just walk through all of them. So there was a traffic stop. All right, on said traffic stop, there was an unlawful search and seizure. Now that is a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights per case law. Plaintiff was subject to a discriminatory treatment and profiling by law enforcement, which is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Plaintiff was forced to self-incriminate, violation of the Fifth Amendment. Plaintiff was detained and charged without a proper showing of jurisdiction. Violation under the Fifth and 14th and upheld by all these court cases. The Arkansas court has refused to allow they wouldn't let them remove their attorney. So that's forced representation. That's unfair treatment under the Constitution. So once you outlined all the facts and all the things that took place, then you have to really make your argument. Okay. So claims for relief, count 1, violation of the Fourth Amendment. All the ways in which this party violated your Fourth. Count 2, violated the Fifth and 14th due process. All the ways in which they did it again. Violation of the 14th under Equal Protection Clause. Just laid it out here as well. Did it again for the right to challenge jurisdiction. And then a conclusion or a prayer for relief. Just what you're asking the court for. You got to be tricky with this. A lot of times you might file this to get out of something, but ultimately here, if you feel that there were damages, that's where you outlaw your damages. And that's a very, very simple. Okay. I'm going to show you guys another generic kind of template. So this is something you might see either, but here would be, the most. Like it could be that easy, as far as if you wanted to write it this way. But up here, you'd want to have it in the right, up here, you'd have to make sure you have it in the right court. So this would be in the district court of and for the district court of. So that's how it would be for my federal court here in Colorado. But I guess the first thing you'd have to know is which federal court to file your case. And hopefully you already know that, but there are 94 federal district courts throughout the United States. Colorado has one, so anything in Colorado is pretty easy, but a lot of places out east and bigger states have several federal districts within a state. So but here whatever, if you had a court case, whatever it be, this would ultimately be the same thing, only switched around. So, yeah, so this is actually from a complaint. So this would actually be your name. And the defendant would be the state court officer. And you always want to make sure you put in your contact info right up front. A lot of people screw this up. But having your contact info up front right below this is critical. They'll give you a case number later. But you can just basically outline the same thing. Like your introduction is right here. Just a quick sentence. Here you would put this one, you would put jurisdiction. And you take those same arguments or examples for jurisdiction and you'd put them here. The next one would be the parties. Who are the parties? And then you'd start breaking out your argument. You break out the facts and then your argument. So, the only thing I want to share with you is to see that. Actually, we should probably bring it up. Let me bring up the amendment. So we've tried all these sovereign things, and they don't always work. And we make these arguments that are bold-faced, like constitutional rights right here. You're violating them, and they get ignored. The reason is the only thing we really have is that they gave us is the right to due process. Okay, so you got to understand that the whole government system is a machine. It's just going to operate. It's just going to function. Now, you can't really be looking out for your individual rights all the time. Okay, it's kind of impractical. You are actually responsible for your own rights and protecting your own rights. So, as an individual up against the big government machine, you got to know your rights, and then you got to know that the only thing they owe you really is due process. And they owe it to you at the state level too. And so the amendments, do I have it readily available? All right. So we'll go to like the Fourth Amendment first.
Are you able to mute attendees from your spot since you hosted this?
All right, maybe that helps. Like I said, I'm not good at this stuff. This is my first party. Okay, so the Fourth Amendment says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by an oath of affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. What's not expressed in here, and it should be, is that this really is only for crime. But it's not that it can only be applied to a crime, but probable cause, for one thing, that's only for crime. And they abuse that all the time. Like to search your car for marijuana or drugs or anything, technically that's not really a crime. Okay. There is no victim, there is no harm. So probable cause to find a statutory violation is not the same thing. And if they're ever going to search your vehicle, the warrant needs to actually be from an officer related or from a court related to a crime. So when they don't do that, that is a right that they are violating because it says right here the right of the people. And it gets really simple when they simply talk about the right or when somebody has rights. Those are the legal arguments you can make because the rule says it. And so this is a due process amendment because it's saying that they can't do this without a process. What that process is getting a warrant. Ryan, what's up?
Okay, so they're going to say probable cause is that we saw you stop. You didn't stop at the stop sign.
Right.
And so you're saying we filed this in the federal district court while before a hearing, middle of the hearing. I have to wait till they rule on it.
You're confusing me. What?
Yeah,
You
my
have
bad.
a traffic case coming up, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can file this simply for them pulling you over.
Okay.
You can file this for simply asking you to come into jail. Okay, because this is what let me get into this next to the Fifth Amendment.
Okay. Okay.
Get that up. Okay. Um, all right. So no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on the presentment of indictment of a grand jury. And again, that a grand jury should be a Republican formed court, and not a commercial court. So technically, a state government can't really put together a grand jury, except in the case arising in the land or naval forces, militia, where actual service in time of war and danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life and limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, and property. Okay, that is the important part. Okay, and the important one is this liberty. All right, liberty means unburdened from administrative law. It means that you're not going to harass me to come get involved in government just so you can function government. Okay, that's what our freedoms are supposed to be. So we shouldn't have to engage in government at all if we don't want to. That's what liberty means. Okay, and so no person, really, it should say no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property. So anytime they ask you to come into court for a traffic violation, they are violating your liberty. When they presume you are the legal person, when they presume you're supposed to follow these statutes, that's a violation of your liberty. When you get served to go to court, they are violating your liberty. Why? Because they're not serving you, they're serving your person. Okay. So a proper service, for you to show up should only come from a common law court or a court capable of providing a common law remedy. And none of these state courts can do that. So these are all arguments for your case here. They violated my Fifth Amendment right of liberty by presuming I'm a legal person or presuming these statutes apply to me. They did not verify. So like due process should be broken down very simple, like checks and balances. Um, like is this a proper jurisdiction for this crime or this controversy? Yes or no? That should be gone through. If you challenge jurisdiction, don't think this jurisdiction's right for me, judge. Your due process is to allow for them to prove that it is. Let's go to the 14th. Now, as I talk about the 14th, I know I really would like this to be repealed. However, it does provide, oh, this is 13th. Okay. It does provide protections for you against the commercial state. So against your state. All right. Basically, the Fourth and Fifth Amendment are more towards the federal government. And the 14th, because they created this fictitious thing, they created these commercial states that aren't going to be of Republican form and aren't going to be of the people and for the people and by the people. They had to create this 14th Amendment to establish certain rules for people or protections for people against their states. And again, it's the same thing. The state, nor shall the state deprive any person of liberty. Anytime the state is compelling you to do anything, they're violating the 14th Amendment. So I mean, and if they take away, they put you in a jail cell for a day or a night, no victim, no harm, liberty. So, all right. I think that's it. I am going to stop the recording.